And welcome, ladies, gentlemen, summoners of all ages, as we are here with tonight's game for the Upsurge Junior League. Thank you so much for tuning in as we are hitting week number 2. My name is Orbital. I'm joined here by Nightstar, who will be with me on this broadcast. Nightstar, how you doing today?
I am doing very, very well. I got a lot of RP last night playing Apex, so I'm coming in on a high.
All right. Well, hopefully that high continues as we have Rome Esports, I believe, versus Champlain Esports. These two teams coming out of the Infernal Division. So we are hopefully going to have a fantastic series on our hands.
Yeah, and both of these teams coming out of week number 1 in different directions. Rome Revolution, they went in with a 2-0, whereas for the flip side, Champlain, they got 0-2. So looking for Champlain to kind of bounce back here with a stronger performance, or at least be able to show us a little bit more from the picks department.
Yeah, just hoping that they can bring about something to kind of spice things up, as of course, every loss kind of dips you closer into that non-playoffs position. But again, it was only week number 1. You still have multiple weeks to go, and first week does not define your ending. That's the whole point of this, and to see if they can continue. So also talking about some of the champions that will not be enabled currently. As you all know, Gwen has been released, the Scissor Lady of the Rift, almost comparable to Camille, but it will be actual scissors coming out. She is currently disabled. Same with Viego and Ramus. So Ramus, with that ultimate change, has now been disabled because of that ultimate change. But those do not matter as we now move into the draft. Once again, it will be Rome Revolution Esports on the blue to start things off, and Champlain College Esports on the red. So we'll get to wait and see what they decide to do. And first ban is a targeted Anivia.
Anivia, of course, super powerful. Seraphine as well, still busted. I've actually seen a rise in just general Anivia bans here, which is really nice because it has been a champion that, in general, hasn't been played a lot by a whole lot of mid laners. So for mid laners to slowly start adding it into their pool is really, really cool to see. But heading into the other sort of bans here, we've got Olaf Darius, and then we have Hecarim Jinx. So a lot of late game power stripped away here from the side of CC, and the fact that they've taken Seraphine, Hecarim, Jinx, all late game powerhouses, and a bit more of a mixed bag coming in from Rome.
Yeah, well, that is a definitively defensive draft as Rome went ahead and picked up the Tristana. An immediate answer, Morgana Sivir, shows I kind of feel a move towards the defensive side, right? Double spell shield, able to stay away. I mean, that screams that they are not looking to win through that bottom side.
Yeah, and if this Tristana does go into that bottom lane, I actually like this lane setup here because with Morgana Sivir, you're able to just constantly shove the Tristana in. And one of the issues with Tristana is that if she doesn't find those fights, she does take a little bit of a dip when it comes to that mid game and then it really depends on if she's able to find those kills to be able to get into that late game point. So Morgana Sivir, really nice pickups there, but they're actually going to supplement whatever bot laner they do run with the Nami. So a lot more dueling potential here coming out from that bot side. We'll see what they end up pairing the Nami with, though.
Yeah, and honestly, from CCE, this is by far one of the fastest picks I've seen so far in a pick and ban phase. I mean, immediately Morgana Sivir, as soon as the Nami was locked in, they locked in the Renekton. It's almost like they feel like
know.
No matter what's coming out of Rome, they're just like, cool, Rome wasn't built in a day and it won't be built today, so good luck.
Yeah, we'll see if they are able to supplement the rest of the draft with picks that fit thematically. Of course, they have a pretty strong run at you composition coming in from CC, which could run into some issues when it comes to playing against the Nami, because Nami, the wave, not necessarily the fastest spell, but they're all running in the same direction at you. It makes it very easy to land that ult.
And that is a big question mark. So making sure that's not there. We are now on to the second ban phase. And I mean, these bans flipped out. So full support bans as it seems that Rome Revolution Esports have actually stated that's a mid lane Morgana, and it is CCE. Go ahead and lock in the Lulu. So us being bamboozled and Rome going, now we ain't any day. CCE read like a book.
You know, it actually could be a different pivot. It could just be the Morgana into the jungle because Morgana jungle did get Giga buffed this patch, and her
Oh,
clear is actually absurdly fast. So this, could just be Morgana into the jungle, which I would be very excited to see. I haven't actually watched the clear, but with her extra damage buffs, should be outworldly fast, and definitely a lot faster than a Volibear, who has gotten a healthier clear but not a faster clear.
yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it's actually it's sub 3 minutes. I think is the last person that timed it, if I'm not mistaken. So that is actually the fastest clear speed, faster than a Hecarim as well. So yeah, Morgana jungle. Even I'm bamboozled. This is why I'm the play-by-play. I don't actually think, and I shouldn't bring any statistics in. So thank you for that, Nice. You should have corrected me earlier, but that is the Morgana possibly going in the jungle. Lulu and everything locked in, but the Jackson Galio to actually counter. So it looks like Rome Revolution Esports had kind of gone for this stylistic choice of, hey, we're gonna try and combat this gank heavy or this kind of binding from the bush. Just shove your laners out in situations.
Yeah, and actually, CC, this draft, if they play their cards right, is actually nuts because of the fact that they have Renekton and Lucian, so two very early game champions, but they're both champions that can be flexed into either solo lane. So
Mm.
if you put this Lucian into the Jax, which Lucian beats both of these solo lanes technically, but Renekton can win against Galio and slowly lose against Jax. So I think the better lane setup would be to put the Lucian into the top side, but this should be a very strong early game setup from CC that we need to see really capitalize on when it comes to moving into that mid game.
Yeah, mid game is going to be the big question. As we forgot to even mention that on the side of Rome Revolution Esports, they do have a player named MG Jax. So he is
Hmm.
getting his namesake.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll definitely get to watch and see if that is for sure why he is named that, or if he will bring rune upon the name. But with what you were talking about, with a couple of the lane swaps that can potentially come in, I want to talk to you about where you feel a lot of this pressure is going to be applied. Right? You talked about how Lucian can kind of go in the top and mid. We talked about the
Hmm.
Morgana jungle. We also talked about Renekton possibly going against the Galio. Where do you see a lot of these teams focus to land on in the early stages of this game to start?
I would expect to see Morgana really to focus her time around the Renekton, especially if it ends up being into that top side. Yes, Renekton still slams Jax early game, but Jax definitely takes over that matchup in eventually, which is going to be the issue there. So if you're able to just Giga Slam that top side with this Renekton Morgana, of course, you land the stun with the Renekton. It makes for easy bind setups there right afterwards. And then between the two CCs, that is such a long CC duration that Jax just doesn't get time to actually run away.
Yeah, and one of the big problematic issues is Jax does not have his ultimate, right? The Grandmaster's might. He actually falls very flat, right? Doesn't have a lot of that excess armor and magic resist to
Mhm.
combat. So very, very true is watching to see where the Morgana goes. Now, to counteract that, you have the Volibear, one of these champions that
Mhm.
we've seen be one of the top premier junglers. And now in the new patch, right, you get the second best Morgana considered the top, but it does. I mean, there have to be fatal flaws in this Morgana jungle, right? Is there anything that the Volibear can exploit in terms of try and get a little leverage in there?
I mean, the weakness for the Morgana is that she doesn't exactly duel particularly well. She's able to clear jungle really quickly. She's able to kind of kite very well, but in a straight up duel, if Volibear is able to get onto Morgana, you definitely win that. But the issue is Morgana will never need to use her Black Shield in the jungle. So whenever you do encounter her, she should always have Black Shield available. For this Volibear, really the setup is all about this bot side. You're looking at Tristana, you're looking at Nami. These are two very duelist heavy champs that want to just fight in that bot side. And then you've got the Galio. So at level 6, follow bear Galio into that bot lane. It should be just an absolute buffet for Tristana here.
Yeah, and with that lock and other Justana, another ADC that we've seen kind of climb the ranks out of everything, right? First saw it in the mid lane, and now transitioning more into the ADC, the traditional ADC role.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, with this, I believe it was the Nami lock-in, which is, I feel, Nami not being one of the supports that we've seen of late, right? It's always been the Rel, the Alistar being locked in. Against the Lulu, this is almost thrown back to like season 7 and 8, and maybe even 9 with some of the Ardent Sensor and some of like the support Enchanter styles of matchups.
Yeah, it's going to add a little bit more, of course, single target power because Tristana just loves that extra buffs coming in from the Nami. The heal's going to be nice, but it's not quite the same as other enchanter supports that might fit that same role. And I mean, in general, Nami's kind of sat in that weird position of no man's land when it comes to enchanters, where she doesn't buff you as much as something like a Lulu per se, but she doesn't quite provide you as much heal as something like a Soraka or just that sustained power. So we'll see how it ends up performing. I really like the Nami pick with the Tristana because of how aggressive you can play. But again, the amount of defensive power on the flip side is also pretty high because of that Lulu and, of course, the Sivir to really negate the explosive charge.
Yeah, and having that potential negate means a lot of those trades will be terrifying to take if you are Tristana, if you are the Nami, and having it turned on its head will be a problem. So taking a look at these compositions as a whole, you really did lock down that CCE this time around, even though they're coming into this 0-1, they have a strong composition. Do
Mhm.
you feel that this is still weighted in their favor overall, or do you think that the win conditions coming out for Rome Revolution Esports should be able to offset in some sense?
This composition from CC is really, really strong because come late game, you have double enchanter supports essentially with double AD carry marksman. So there's actually a lot of late game power, even though there's so much early game power on this comp as well. So I'm looking for the Sivir perhaps to go for the crit build to be able to really augment that late game instead of going for the lethality build. Although it can work here, I just think the late game is just going to fit thematically with their comp just a little bit more. Whereas on the flip side, I don't think Rome can really win team fights come late game unless this Jax is really far ahead. I think what their game plan is just to allow this Jax in the hands of MG Jax to just hard push in these side lanes. And there's really no one to match this Jax in that side lane.
Win condition on the Jax. This is the composition that Rome has decided to build their foundation on, and we'll see if it can hold up to the test of time. We'll have to be right back as we get things underway, so don't go anywhere. Don't touch that browser, as we will be right back on the Rift for game number 1 between Rome Revolution Esports and Champlain College Esports. And we are back on the Rift for game number 1 of this week 2 for the UJL with Rome Revolution Esports on the blue side and Champlain College Esports on the red. We are going to try and do some introductions, but it looks like there already aren't going to be any seconds available as we do see CCE going. Yeah, let's play a little bit, even though I'm pretty sure Morgana Jungle does not start Q level 1.
Yeah, she definitely doesn't. Or if she does, well, at the very least, you're starting a single target buff. So that's not too bad. But oh, look at this lane setup. It looks like they might indeed be putting that Lucian into that top lane and landing the Renekton into that mid lane. That's what it looks like the posturing is going to be, which I love here. As long as the Lucian doesn't. The issue is Lucian is still a very fragile matchup, as I mean Renekton just dumpsters Galio, man. Oh man.
I feel a lot of things dumpster Galio. I think we were talking post champ select,
he comes mid.
This is bad, and that's gonna be a little bit of a wave. I think it gave it over to Bernie Sanders, but still already popped. What, he popped a potion at level 1? Oh, that feels so bad right now for the Galio. Down a pot at level 1 and 1 CS to his name.
Yeah, he also he's going for this aftershock to make sure he doesn't get blasted as hard. And I mean, to be fair, he should have just looked to start Justice Punch, just to be able to proc the aftershock, be able to kite things out, because it's already looking like he's not trying to interact here. So you just get that aftershock proc to make sure you don't get bullied out, and then level 2, you're able to just go ahead and get yourself those extra stats or the extra wave clear.
It looks like he actually went for the taunt level 2, so saying, hey, I'm going to catch Liberal Hunter in kind of rough scenarios, maybe in the menu wave is his thought process. But that's going to be potion burn by Liberal Hunter as well, so actually potion up for Bernie Sanders in case things go a little bit sideways.
Yeah, actually very liberal use there. As that is also why the Jax matchup is not fun, because Lucian gets to dictate when the dash comes out, whereas the Jax has to be he can't do anything unless the Lucian dash comes out, but he doesn't have to use it, so it's kind of rough. All these lanes are rough, man. I don't know what to say.
Well, it's not about to be rough anymore for Jax, as Ahotem says, yeah, let's have some fun here. Jump right in, flash use. Kamikaze is going to fall, as that is going to be first blood going over to the Jax's way.
Yeah, so nice little pickup there over in that top side. And one of the other things to note is the fact that Kamikaze, he was their AD carry last week. So switching things up, and perhaps this was one of the strats that they came up with, and the fact that, hey, you play AD carries, well, we can just have you play an AD carry in this mid or top, and it should work out. But
and now we're seeing a second gank, clean and simple by the book. Very nice job by Ihotem, as he is going to pick up and help secure a second kill for his team.
Yeah, actually having great impact so far. And Morgana here just to try and reset the wave. Doesn't land the binding. If the binding lands, you could double dash with, of course, the flash, and maybe that results in a kill, but still rough.
Oh no, Kamikaze is going to have to burn the flash, going to run straight into the jungle. I think one more auto attack is going to do a jump forward, and an empowered auto means Jax now has full control of this lane, as he is 2-0.
Yeah, and now you're going to be running into the issue of the stickiness coming in from Jax. As long as Jax does look to max Q here, he actually has a lot of sticking power, but it actually looks like he's still throwing points into W, so has a little bit more burst potential, I suppose. But yeah, it looks like they've already given up on that lane setup. They're throwing the Lucian back into the mid lane. Lucian still has the teleport, so surprised he hasn't gone for it. But
The rough time is though that Liberal Hunter is also down 0-1. So it's a big question if maybe they're just rotating free gold around for Rome Revolution Esports right now. It depends on where the Volibear wants to go. We are going to see a little bit of a dance on the bot side, but Saturn out of mana right now means that he will have to recall, whereas Somberful and Jason are both full mana and full health.
Level 6 here onto the Jax. This could be a setup for yet another kill, but Renekton still doing, like, still does very well in this early game, mind you. So he's not a free kill.
Not a free kill at all, and can't take that chance. However, Infernal Drake is up. So that will be the
Renekton
target
could just
of aggression right now. Yeah, he's going to look towards it. And yeah, that's just a Dominus dive straight under the tower. And Jax is dead.
Yeah, whenever you see any carry that's sitting at 400 HP or below in that top side, the Renekton can just one-shot you. But now, Dragon secured, and now they're chasing.
Ooh, nice flash forward into the bubble, and Poncho Cat is going to be on the receiving end of a death. Another rocket jump forward forces the flash out of Japeth. That is going to be a single kill, and Dragon headed into Rome's pocket.
Yeah, and right now for the side of CC, the Morgana hasn't really given any value here. Down on CS, down in pressure as well. Just really trying to find any sort of... I guess they haven't really practiced with it a whole lot because they're not used to having setups, it looks like, here for the Morgana. Just allowing the Morgana to try and get a gank, of course, definitely was possible to set things up with the Renekton, and they definitely can still set up around this Renekton here.
Still can. And as long as Jax is pressured in, that could be a rough reality. So Liberal Hunter sitting at 58 CS, 37 to Jax's name. And a kill up, I think that was also a minor shutdown, so might have gotten a little extra. A little bit of a trade in the top side, so Jax still facing a fairly large wave. Doesn't really want to give over any of that CS.
Yeah, so things starting to quiet down just a little bit, but Renekton.
Yeah, Dominus not just up, so I think if Jax had been able to Taylor, that would have been it, but a nice dash out during the taunt means that it's going to be a trade on the top side as Jax actually realizes he doesn't have a whole lot of health. Dash back and out.
Wait, the flash
forward into the counter strike means Jax wins the duel. The Grandmaster flexes his might in a straight up 1v1.
Yeah, and actually really cleanly executed kill coming in from MG Jax, truly showcasing that he knows how to play this champion, even in some of these bad matchups. And yeah, that means for Liberal Hunter, he's going to have to go back to the drawing board. Still going to have some opportunity to trade back, but the window is, of course, closing slowly but surely. And Japeth, where's the play, buddy?
Well, trying to play on the bottom side, already used it, but the rocket jump in! No, Somberful has to flash right back out. Now Bernie Sanders is in the middle, cutting down the fish. Somberful gets bound a little bit off on the edge, and they're going to keep chasing. Flash over the wall goes Galio, and he's running away for his life.
No flash.
Follow through with an object. Binding lands at the tail end. The lollipop of the Q makes it connect, and that will be 2 kills on a grand overextension by Rome Revolution Esports.
Yeah, just a really nice turn coming in from CC as it still stays spicy. The action doesn't stop, Orbital.
Not at all. Volibear says, I want some more too. And now a jump in as Jax might have to run for life. That's a flash forward to WQ. Liberal Hunter snatches another one.
Yeah, it's just tit for tat up in the top side. They just want to keep fighting. MG Jack's still looking for these trades, knowing that he has the shorter trade window with the Sheen proc and being able to just jump in, burst. As long as he has Counter-Strike cooldown, he can look for these trades. But in that instance, didn't have the flash to get away from Renekton if Renekton wanted to re-engage. So Liberal Hunter knows the difference in the flash timings, goes ahead, flashes forward, gets that kill, and really well done from him.
And I just want to say how much more Liberal Hunter is getting out of his kills, right? That is something that really gets talked about at some of the higher levels of play, which is you got the kill, cool. What else did you get out of it, right? What else can you get on the map? And in these situations, it gave Liberal Hunter 2 extra plates. You notice in Jax's pocket, he hasn't been able to collect any. He's actually still down 25 CS. So Liberal Hunter making a great use of these kills to be able to push his advantage that much further.
Yeah, he's able to snowball his advantage just a little bit better. But now we're looking at teleports online here. And of course, a dragon about to be online. So I'm thinking we might get some spiciness coming into this bottom side orbital.
I hope it is. This is the second Drake of the game. It is a Cloud Drake. So not exactly the most feared dragon to have, but that's a flash forward straight into the stun, and a tower dive to follow. Massive Stormbringer means Ahotep is going to pick it up, but now binding under the tower into the Soul Shackles. Bernie Sanders might be the collateral damage here. Soul Shackles only landed on one, and a wave forward as well. Jason Sama says, cool, I'm going to try and help my team. The Ritual crashes on the top side. I don't think Jax was in range for it, and the slow goes in. Another binding dodge. And that is Volibear getting away with his life. The tower dive is successful with no one being injured on the side of Rome Revolution Esports.
Yeah, and this top lane, they're still trading, man. They don't want to stop. And it does look like they're going to turn for this dragon, but the collapse is here. It's a 4v3.
And remember, yeah, that's the 4v3, like you said, and that's going to be a nice little tag, a jump in into the double taunt. And now, this time, Somberful really wants to try it out, but a teleport in means Liberal Hunter is going to find the slice and dice and kill onto the statue. Somberful doesn't have a follow-up jump, and he will pay the price for it with his life. Dragon goes the way of CCE, and this game is neck and neck.
It's still going tit for tat here on Summoner's Rift, but this time it's just the punch is that much stronger coming in because you see the Renekton being able to shove in that top side just a little bit into the tower, and Jax without mana forced to just eat that wave rather than use the teleport to try and get back to his team, and Renekton just able to run away with that fight because all hell broke loose, and it didn't matter that Liberal Hunter didn't have the ultimate there.
Oh my gosh, and Jax just laying down the slap down, but now gets slowed, has to hop right back out, but took 2 tower shots, and they can't follow up.
That's the teleport.
Yeah, that's a teleport being used. And so Sadrin and Poncho Cat do have to give up the bottom lane tower, but they get away with their lives.
Yeah, and once again, that means Renekton, he just gets more value. He's going to be able to take another 2 plates and Galio. Okay, we didn't see that.
That feels so bad as someone that's played Galio. The jump back, you're like, oh, I can make it over. Oh, my fat butt just ran into a corner of a wall. That hurts.
Yeah, I mean, those arms are pretty thick, so sometimes they get caught on the doorway, you know? So, understandable. I personally do not run into that issue. Got very thin arms, so, you know.
That's a plus of on being on the thin side, I should say. I do not have that issue. I actually have the Galio issues, unfortunately. And on the top side, we might have a duelist issue. Jump right out. Counter-Strike not going to land. Liberal Hunter now going to see a running bear at him. He is going to have to try and duelist 2-on-1. It might actually be able to do it. Jax has to flash out.
Teleport now.
Teleport being used. Liberal Hunter is now going to be on the hunt. The Volibear getting cold in the back. And
but Gallia's here now.
The hero's entrance is going to catch Liberal Hunter on the backside. Kamikaze is going to fall as well. The animals tried to hunt and now on the flip side being hunted by the hunted originally. So say that 3 times fast as Rome Revolution Esports come away with the 2-0 secure.
Yeah, and this Volibear pick, I have nothing but praises for this Volibear pick. This
Mhm.
Volibear pick has been absolutely phenomenal coming in from the side of Rome. They've been able to utilize the gank power coming in the skirmish potential coming in from this Volibear, really to get 4 kills onto the champion. He's ganked so much for the squad. He's created so much pressure for the squad. Um, and I mean, on the flip side, we've yet to see really the real power coming out from this Morgana. Of course, late game, she's going to be an absolute powerhouse, but so far hasn't been able to really crack open a CS lead. And part of that is the fact that whenever the Volibear has gone for these ganks, the Morgana actually hasn't looked to make invade plays, which seems a little bit of a blunder.
Yeah, just a bit. And, essence of jungling is the counter jungle. That's how you get a lead in certain situations, or, at least match the continuous fighting that the Volibear has put out. 4-0-2. AOTEM so far has applied so much pressure around the map. We actually saw the Rift Herald actually being used, so that was snuck away without our notice. Something to keep in mind for maybe future games as well. But now, as we hit a little bit past 16 minutes, we're seeing the towers actually getting chipped away on the side of Rome.
Oh, yes. They are chipping away at these towers, but also into a pause. As Japath, he is experiencing some lag issues. Ethernet did get knocked out, so unfortunate there. But looking at some of these mythics that are starting to come out here, we have the Triforce already completed against the. Oh, okay. It looks like we're going to be going back in very soon against the Gore Drinker. So, plenty of power coming in from both of these top laners still. Jungle, actually no mythic so far coming in from the Morgana. Of course, she wants to have that Zanya's Hourglass online for these team fights, so it makes a lot of sense in that regard. And we do have, of course, the Chem Tank completed by the Volibear. And interestingly enough, in this mid lane, we actually have the Mortal Shield Bow from this Lucian, and also no mythic yet to be completed. And it looks like it's going to be just a full tank build coming in from this Galio. So that is incredibly interesting, because then you're looking at this comp from the side of Rome and you're wondering, where's the magic damage coming out when it comes to these later game team fights? And it really accentuates the fact that perhaps Jax is their one and only win condition in this game.
That would be very rough if that's true, as the dragon is about to spawn here in just a couple seconds as we hit 17 and a half minutes on the clock.
They're actually going to
now
concede
it
this.
is going to spawn and be completely claimed by the side of Rome Revolution Esports. So the Mountain Drake going in the pockets of Rome as the defenses continue to compile.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big mistake there. And the fact that, this could be a mistake.
This could be a mistake as they flash over. Yeah, mistake on the part of a very, very surprised Lucian.
But the turn.
Japath is going to fall. And the rest of the squad is going to back right out through the jungle, and they're going to possibly completely survive. No, the turnaround here, Hero's entrance is not going to catch him. When Redacted walks into it, he is going to get the
no damage
slice onto Jackson. The follow through on AOTEM. The stun is going to collect, but the heal from the Nami bounces just right. And the Volibear is going to run away as quickly as possible as another bubble stalls out any further attempts. And a trade of 2-for-1 goes in favor of Rome Revolution Esports behind the mid lane tower.
Yeah, they went out on the trade, but the issue is they lose out on pressure, because all of a sudden in CC, they just run straight down mid. They're going to be able to get a tier 2 mid tower as Volibear. It looks like he gets a free kill here.
Oh, no. Kamikaze just walked into the brush and tries to dash over the wall. The well-played heart.
Yeah.
Such a cheeky player.
He's so strong, but the issue is you saw in the fight they were able to get that first pick, right? And they can really dive towers because of how much beefiness that they do have on these champions, the Jax, the Volibear, and this pretty much full tank Galio. But the issue comes afterwards where they
Mhm.
tried to re-engage a second time and they just didn't have damage. The Tristana wasn't in a position where she could freely output damage, and then the Jax got taken down. So after that, like you've just run out of everything. So all they could do after that was just run. And it was still a beautiful disengage coming in from the Volibear and the Nami, but definitely a concern once we do hit that 30-minute break point. So for the side of Rome, they have to try and really assert their dominance before that 30-minute hits.
Just waiting, and the clock is ticking. 20 minutes being time. So 10 minutes left if they want their composition to really take over this game. 6-0-2 is the score for the Volibear, 4-3-2 for Jax. ADC though, Somberful running a little bit behind, down in CS and down in kills as well. Opted for that Kraken Slayer build, whereas you do see the Gale Force coming out of Saturn. So kind of different shifts in what the teams want to do and what the players want to do themselves.
Yeah. Very interesting builds coming in from the AD carries. I actually would have expected double Kraken Slayer initially here, just because of just more late game power. But now, yet another duel.
They just want to keep stat checking each other, and the stun might be the revealer. However, I think both of them have got the Conquer up, and they just might win. Liberal Hunter comes out on top. Now, in the Baron, they attempted it and get locked down for it. Somberful has to jump away. That's going to be 3 recalls being used here. The Baron still being started.
And now Renekton actually teleports for this play. He doesn't have a whole lot of health, though, and that's a big issue. He's still tanking Baron.
Yeah, and on the hunt has been used. They might try and chase this little hunter going very, very low. They have to be a little bit conscious of this. He gets spit out one more time.
Wait, the bind lands.
And that binding does land, and Aotem has to run away. He goes over the wall with the ultimate. He's going to follow through. No one dies, though, outside of Jax. And a 4-man Baron attempt is stalled by a 5-man. These teams are going tooth and nail no matter what time of the game it is.
They just keep scrapping. They just don't stop over Orbital. And yes, it may not be a heavy kill game, 22 minutes, and we still don't have a kill per minute, but that hasn't stopped them from just nonstop running at each other. And now we're coming up onto the next dragon, 30 seconds. This has to be really the dragon that the side of CC really try and contest around, because they have that mythic now completed onto the Morgana. She really starts to take off on damage here. And if you look on the flip side, like, again, they don't have a whole lot of magic damage on their end, but you also don't see a whole lot of magic resistance built up because they are going up against a Renekton and double AD carries. So they've mostly focused their attention on armor, but it looks like they want to go for a trade.
Yeah, they might look for it, but it has been called. This is going to be CCE trying to get into the pit. There's a full 5-on-5 Buster Start used already. It's going to be Aotem trying to run interference.
Engage.
And the Baron has been stopped, but that's going to be the Counter-Strike jumping right into the middle of them. Wave goes out, doesn't catch too many, only 2. This is a very split fight, 4-on-2 versus 1-on-3. That's going to be a trade, 1 for 1.
But the Renekton!
And look at the huge heal. Liberal Hunter hunts them all. He is going to get a double kill in the midst of a 4-man fight. Oh, the boomerang is thrown out, but a 3-for-1 total means CCE come away with the Baron fight victory.
Yeah, they run away with the fight from the sheer might of this Renekton pick, diving in 1v4, keeping all of their attention split. And it was basically just a race of 1v4s on both ends. But you see this Jax. The Jax doesn't have as much beefiness because he's gone for the Black Cleaver. He wants to try and just go for a pure duelist build against this Renekton, which means he doesn't have team fight power. And then you look on the flip side, there's already a Sterix gauge built up on this Renekton, which means he can do those 1v4 shenanigans, because once he gets low, Sterix gauge pops. He gets the extra stats from Sterix gauge. And then once he gets even lower, he pops the Gore Drinker, and all of a sudden he's back to 3/4 health. And that's exactly what you saw there.
A disgusting display to even things up. And I mean, even it in kills is really the only way to put it, because right now CCE are currently up 2.8k. They have a mighty lead in that sense, and these continued Baron attempts by Rome Revolution Esports just don't seem to be cutting it. It's almost just too heavily forced, probably for their own good.
Yeah, they're really just kind of lost on the map because they realize like they have to just fight now if they want to have 5v5s, because their 5v5 just gets progressively worse. But now Jax, of course, has that teleport. They've gone to the alternative strat, which is let Jax do his thing. But the issue is Jax hasn't been able to just win in this 1v1. But now
Yeah, might be able to do it. And that's a jump in. Health advantage for Jax.
No, Lucian's out.
Dominus not being popped, but that is going to be Kamikaze getting dropped over by the Baron. And that is Jax now. The camera likes to swing multiple directions every single time. That is a close trade between the top laners, but a 4-man attempt here on the Baron. Third time just might be the charm.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to try and go for it, but teleport available here.
Yeah, and they do call it, but a binding does land. That's going to be the Volibear going in with the Stormbringer, but it only hits the spell shielded Sivir. On the hunt is used.
Wait.
Now a contested teleport. Liberal Hunter getting spit on, and he just might be sacrificed. Remember, he has no Dominus available, gets tagged by the rocket jump. He is going to fall, trades right back in, GAUs. So he is going to revive, but an automatic taunt as he comes up with a lot of health. He is just going to be traded as the sacrificial lamb. Kamikaze now recalling, running straight towards that Baron. Health bars a little bit low for this Baron.
Yeah, but with how tanky their builds are, they actually will be able to continuously tank up this Baron. So that's not going to be a big issue. And now it's just seeing if they go for a steal or if they really try and commit to a contest.
So a lot of damage. Trying to get a little damage down, and they're very low. If Japan can find a way in, that could be big. A couple more shots, and that's the Soul Shackles, takes out the ADC. There might be a follow-up. They lost the Baron, but might claim more lives. Japeth gets the wild growth. He is going to survive. Goes golden with that Zanya's that he picked up, and 4 members are down. That is what happens when you try and press your Baron a little bit too hard. They got the buff, but lose it right after.
And they get the gold, but they all die right afterwards, which is the big issue. They still have one left, which might keep their base alive for the time being, but they will lose this inhib.
That is just heartbreaking for Rome Revolution Esports. They tried
want to go for a deep teleport play, though.
Yeah, they might be able to. You can hear the pings go down. Low bubble doesn't land, and so that's going to be on the hunt used once again just to get them to safety. So inhibitor and mid lane completely broken into. And now for the upcoming Drakes, Rome Revolution Esports have to be more careful.
They definitely do, because this is the portion of the game where they really start slowing down. Now that that second item is completed on the side of CC, you're just getting more stats, more and more stats with each increasing item. And on the flip side, you peak at 2 items. And honestly, you probably peaked at 1 item on the side of Rome. And they weren't able to fully capitalize off of it. And now really the eggs are all in the Jax basket. And he doesn't have lifesteal quite yet. So a little bit baffling, but he's still been able to really deal with the Renekton in the 1v1 as of this moment.
Yeah, just having a good time. Already picked up the Bramble Vest as well. So sitting on 3 items, and I mean, he has done phenomenal work so far. 7-4 and 1 lower hunter really putting on a show. And not only that, Saturn has also quietly been accruing a healthy lead, 406 with a
Mhm.
550 gold bounty on his head, 222 CS. So he is also outputting ridiculous amounts of damage. Hotem going ahead and charging in, trying to clear out some of the wards, but this
Oh,
is a
they're just all
complete
inning.
setup. Liberal Hunter goes ahead. Potsdamas, three-man wave means that Liberal Hunter is still going to be right in the middle. Hero's entrance is used to kind of zone off the fight, but those are big ticket ultimates for a very important dragon.
Yeah, and Lucian, he's a little bit far from this fight. It looks like he's going to try and just walk over. Doesn't have, he does have a ward to teleport to, but it doesn't look like he's interested in teleporting to it.
Well, he can't. That was actually taken out by the pink ward, and now this is a 5-on-4. Now they're going to teleport it in. The dragon is taken, though. Smite used to pass. Gonna flash in. 3-man soul shackle might not get the secondary damage, but a flash in. The backline has been
also
secured by the side of Rome Revolution Esports. Now the fight completely won by Rome. CCE have to run away. It is a deja vu moment flipped as they take the dragon, but get aced in return.
Yeah, and this fight, like the teleport coming in from Lucian wasn't in a good spot. He didn't have a great ward to teleport to, and as a result, he's just put in this absolutely terrible position for the start of the team fight, where Jax is just freely able to jump straight on top of him. And this time around, you get to see the full power of this Jax, who's slowly but surely hitting that late game breakpoint. Now, it's also left to wonder why both of these marksmen on the side of CC, they still haven't built up any armor penetration. If you look how much armor is built up on the side of Rome, all they have is armor. That's all they've built. So you need to have the last whisper, and it's just an absolute mistake that there hasn't been.
When you face up against this style of game, you have to be a little bit more flexible, right, when it comes to your itemization. Now, with everything used, I mean, Liberal Hunter even burning the teleport, they try to use on the hunt and be able to get some cleanup kills, and they weren't able to find any, so they lose their mid lane inhibitor. Now down about 1.7k, and so big question marks now. The game has swung back and forth multiple times, and so far it looks like it's in Rome Revolution's court.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's in Rome Revolution's court, because if you actually look at the summoners, they expended so much for that fight. They expend the Jax flash, the Volibear flash, and the Galio flash. So those are really their big ticket engage cooldowns. Whereas on the flip side, yes, you've burned flashes, but when everything's kind of come down to neutral, with everyone not having flashes, you do benefit just a little bit more, because you do have the extra tank abilities coming in from the Morgana being able to keep people safe, from the Lulu being able to keep people safe, and also having, of course, your own abilities for protection with the dash and on the Lucian, and the spell shield coming in from the Sivir. So it's very hard to recreate that same fight for the side of Rome, but if they're able to just wait out these cooldowns and get those flashes back up, it might be possible.
Just might be, and unfortunately, it looks like Bernie Sanders and Ahotem won't have their flashes up. Neither will Jax for this Baron. Up in just 3 seconds. Bubble doesn't land, and Ahotem actually getting run out of the jungle. Everything burned to try and get this catch, and they're just going to turn it right back around. Hero's entrance
teleport coming in,
and double Zanya straight in the middle of the enemy team. This might not be where they want to be. CCE losing multiple members. Double kill for the Galio. Liberal Hunter is going to try and turn it around, and it is going to go straight into that GA resurrection, but the fight has already been won. This is just a simple cleanup exercise. A second ace on the 33-minute mark is possibly going to mark the game end.
Yeah, and that is actually just going to be the game ending right there. They decide that they wanted to just go ahead and pick that Volibear, but the Volibear was never the issue. They expend so much for that, and that's going to cost them their Nexus.
That will be game number 1 going in favor of Rome Revolution Esports. Not clean by any stretch of the imagination, and Champlain College Esports definitely putting it to them. But the game won by Rome means they will be up 1-0, one step closer to securing that series victory.
Yeah, and I mean, for the side of Champlain, like Kamikaze, living up to the name, unfortunately. He went in far too many times, even in that last fight, committed the dash forward. And once he commits the dash forward, it's done. Solo lane Lucian, with how much gold gets invested into you, you just cannot use that dash that aggressively. And the moment he burned it was really the moment the fight went downhill in that last fight. So unfortunate for him. Well, hopefully we get to see him bounce back in game number 2, but it was still a very back and forth game. So I'm very excited to see what we get to see in game 2.
Yep, that is going to be what we can. Maybe the same kind of draft, just a little bit of the mistakes cleaned up. We'll have to wait and see, of course. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for game number 2 between Rome Revolution Esports and Champlain College Esports.
Awake to my voice and hear that call within. Embrace the fear inside. Surrender your mind to my decay.
And welcome back to everyone that is still sticking around. And we thank you for that, as again, this series has already shown some spice. Game number one, battles back and forth culminated in Rome taking the first game victory, but not without CCE throwing a few punches of their own. Here in game two, we might have a bit more of the same.
Yeah, it was definitely very back and forth. I'm excited to see if they actually leave the Jax available again, because to be fair, I don't think the Jax was the biggest issue. They were able to really deal with it for the majority of the game, even in that side lane, which the Jax should have had that advantage, but didn't end up working out. The Renekton was able to really deal with it. So perhaps if the Renekton ban doesn't come through, they'll leave the Jax open.
That might be it. And this time around, Champlain College Esports will be on the Blues side. So we'll see if they can come through. Once again, if they win it here, they will push to a game number 3. If they lose, they will drop to 0-2 in the current standings. Here on the Blue side, they have opted to ban away the Jinx outright, which I believe was one of the bans from game number 1. So kind of sticking with that same theme.
Yeah, and actually for the side of Rome, they go ahead and ban away the Morgana, which is really interesting. Because in my opinion, I don't think Champlain really played around it really well. They weren't able to get invades into the jungle, just a power, like giga power clear. Because if you're 15 seconds ahead of the curve, you got so much extra time to do stuff. And we just didn't see those things come out from the Morgana, whether it was setting up around this Renekton, being able to land that bind into, or the stun into the bind. It's very, I would say, Elise or Nidalee-esque, where it's just such easy setup for the Renekton. We didn't see it. So very intriguing to see the ban come out, but we've got plenty of other jungle bans too to touch on. We've got the Olaf and the Hecarim still, but Volibear added to that ban list.
All right, so brand new junglers. The jungler said, yeah, throw it down. And that is I want to say
Might be a
technically
Darius jungle ban
fifth.
too.
Yeah, that's technically a 5th jungle ban if you want to go towards it. But you know what was left open from last time? Seraphine. So Champlain say, cool, we'll take the other power pick that a lot of people do like, and Rome go, cool, you take that, we'll take what works so far.
Yeah, the Seraphine goes into the hands. Tristana looking to be locked in here. And I mean, I'm not going to judge the Tristana too harshly here because of the fact that the draft didn't ever play to her. Whereas, yes, they got the Volibear Galio picked and they were able to dive down bot side. But the issue was because of the composition, because of the Galio build, the Tristana wasn't able to actually output damage because everyone was already building so much armor. But this time they pivot, they go ahead, get definitely a kill lane here in the Tristana Blitzcrank if Tristana goes into that bot side.
I mean, usually when you grab the Seraphine and it's not matched immediately by a secondary pick, you usually see a bunch of hook champions banned away. I think it's like Thresh, Nautilus, some of the top 2 that you don't want to face if you're playing Seraphine. So automatically picking that one up. The Sivir is going to be locked in once again. So honestly, CCE on that bottom side, Sajin actually played a pretty solid Sivir, not explosive, not like spotlight catching, but very, very stable, I have to say.
Yeah, that's kind of just how a crit silver basically is. He's going to farm, he's going to just do his damage, and it's not going to be too flashy about it. And actually this time around we're going to see an early Nocturne pick come through. Still a lot of flex potential with the Seraphine and the Nocturne, but they're also just really strong champions in general individually.
Yeah, this is a feeling a little bit tight here, and I like it because again, last time we did see that Renekton pop off. If that is a top lane Nocturne, that'll be very fun to watch. The Kindred now locked in,
Okay.
so contest for contest, shot for shot, these guys are constantly trying to counter each other here in the draft phase.
Yeah, and the Kindred feels like it's a little bit early. Of course, Nidalee and Lilia still available here. Lilia very, I would say, still very, very good at the moment. Brings a lot of team fight potential, and more importantly, it opens things up to allow you to move the Trist into that mid lane. Whereas the Kindred kind of just means most likely we're going to see Tristana into that AD carry spot. As we are into that second phase, the Jax taken away, the Lulu taken away, making sure that there's actually a whole lot of focus onto the
Ooh.
support. So they've already targeted out the Seraphine to be going into that mid lane in their minds. And for the side of CC, it looks like they've decided to go ahead and ban the Jax, which seems a little bit surprising, but perhaps they don't like the Nocturne Jax matchup.
Yeah, that's and again, Jax was one of the big reasons that it feels like Rome won that last game, right? The late game Jax
Eventually.
always does a lot of damage. So taking away that late game threat and saying, yeah, we know the game's probably going to get to that point, I think is a smart ban. The Xerath as well, taking away that long range. However, Rome go, cool. You take away the Jax, we'll go with another thing that has a lot of tempo based play or a lot of pressure no matter where you go. The Shen locked in directly into a counter. It's the best way to put it.
Yeah, the Shen, I mean, it's going into that top side, so we'll see if they decide to throw the Nocturne up there, or, you know, I think of something like a Rise that would just do so well into that matchup. But they go ahead and lock in the Gnar. Actually, they did play quite a bit of Gnar last week. They played 2 games of Gnar and were unsuccessful both games. So a little bit concerned, but perhaps third time is the charm.
Yeah, and actually the Yuumi locked in as well for the Sivir, so a very speedy bot lane is coming out for CCE. The Nocturne might be giving a lot of problems for the Shen depending on who gets the primary engage off. 5 seconds left, possibly looking towards that mid lane, looking for one more champion for Rome, and they opt for the Corki, this champion that we've seen come out in the mid lane as well. And hopefully it is Corgi because who doesn't like a good Corgi butt wiggle?
Yeah, and there's actually so much range and marksman power on the side of Rome with these triple marksmen. You've got Tristana, Kindred, and Corki now. A whole lot of range helps deal with some of these champions like the Sivir and the Seraphine, and the fact that you are able to outrange them, but definitely a whole lot of engage power still packed into that CC draft. And, you know, I love the fact that they actually go for a Sivir Yuumi here, because this is such an old school duo. And when Yuumi first came out, that was her lane partner. It was the Sivir Yuumi duo that you hit the slow, you hit the boomerang. It's definitely not that same feel now because of how much power has been stripped away from the Yuumi kit. But it's nice to see that pairing.
Yeah, that one as well as I think Ezreal Yuumi was the elder, very largely played one.
High
So,
harass.
yeah, just extreme aggression and just annoyance is the best way to put that. But we won't see that here. So getting a look at some of these champions going out, let's go ahead, talk about that top lane because it is the Shen versus the Gnar, tried and true matchup. However, with the players that we've seen play it with Jax and Liberal Hunter, these guys went tit for tat. Do we think that we're going to see a lot of aggression coming out once again, or do we think it might be a slower tempo top lane?
I would imagine that it becomes slower, just because Shen itself, while he wants to fight a little bit early on, if he doesn't accumulate leads and get a little bit more damage under his belt, then he really just wants to kind of clear the wave out and look for these teleport plays. So I would assume MG Jax takes it slow this time, but we have the Nocturne and we do have Seraphine. So Nocturne, I think, will look for opportunities topside if given the chance. But I would say the clear cut engage angle would be in this bottom side, because the Tristana and Blitzcrank definitely could fall into the trap of being over aggressive.
Yeah, over aggression. We saw a lot of that happen for both teams in game number one, and so maybe tempering some of that aggression will give them a little bit better edge. Now, taking a look at that jungle, I want to look specifically at these two because game number one, Japeth had a top tier jungler with that Morgana, couldn't really make anything happen, was able to farm well. Here on the Nocturne, a champion that pretty much you say live or die by the level 6, right? With that paranoia fear. How do you feel about this matchup going into the Kindred and the Shen, where you know that the other team should have some safety from your ultimate?
Yeah, this Nocturne pick I feel like has been relatively shot down with the draft responses coming in from Rome. You have a Shen ultimate, if the paranoia does fade away, of course, but also you just don't necessarily have a nice little dive buddy to come with you. Gnar, yes, he's able to dive, but can he dive as far as a Nocturne? Most likely not. So you're really reliant on Poncho Cat to supplement this Nocturne pick and being able to come in with you. And I mean, Yumi in her current state, I don't think that's good enough.
Yeah, that's just a little rough time if you can't get the Yumi on there, like you said. And let's also move towards that bottom lane now, because the Blitzcrank was locked in pretty much as soon as the Seraphine was locked in. So question marks, because Jason Sama last time was on a relatively safer support with that Nama, you know, a little bit less aggressive. This time around has to be one of the big playmakers. Do you think he has that in himself? Do you think he'll be able to actually kick things off with these Blitzcrank hooks?
That'll certainly be the big question. I think if he's able to get out of lane and be able to roam into that mid lane a lot, that could be an angle. Of course, in this bottom side, the Sivir Yumi, if you hook the Sivir and she doesn't have the spell shield available, it's a 2-for-1, you know? So you get a bonus. So it's really on the side of, I would say, Sojourn and Poncho Cat to really play this lane really perfectly, because one mistake definitely could be punished heavily because of how much aggression is coming out from a Tristana Blitzcrank.
I mean, at the same time, here in the bottom lane, it's a 2-for-1 special. You grab one, you grab both of them if you're Jason.
Exactly.
So that's always a plus as well. We will have to wait and see. Again, this is CCE's attempt to kind of turn the tides. This is them on the back foot, so we'll see if they can pull it off and push it to a game number 3, or if Rome Revolution Esports will be able to take it and run the 2-0 series. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, and don't touch that browser. And we are back with some lovely skins entering the Rift. I think that is the new Groove Space Groove skin coming out for Jason Sama, but these are the champions that have been opted for the Rift. And it seems we already might have once again a contest of wills.
Looks like we're gonna look at a level 1 play, baby.
Yep,
Here
and
we
that's
go.
a sweet
Whoa!
4-man root into the damages. Jason taking extremely low. Ahotem running away for his life as well. No real follow-up as a Q goes through. And my gosh, that could have been quite a few deaths.
That was set up to be absolute disaster for the side of Rome. They take so much damage. They try and look for a pick, and what do you know? They walk into a 5-man stack, and the AoE damage is just immense at level 1. And they get absolutely punished. They have to, well, actually, thankfully, they only burned 1 flash, but it definitely could have been a whole lot more there. So nice little start there coming in from CC, but
You always just throw a blind hook. I feel that's like #1 rule with like a Blitzcrank, Morgana, or anyone like that. You just throw the hook, see if it lands, right?
Yeah.
Like that is what you want to do.
it's exactly what you want to do. Hopefully, you just get that first blood right then and there, but almost fell into that trap.
Yeah,
And
looks like Ahotem is taking a little bit low in that jungle clearing pass, so we'll have to keep track of that between everyone. As bottom lane already just annoyances coming out as Poncho Cat gonna live up to his name and constantly give a little bit of a poncho to Sajern.
give him a bop every once in a while here, and it should be a very good time when it comes to the initial lane setups coming in from everyone on the side of CC. They've got plenty of poke. They've got plenty of great laning champions, and also just being able to really neutralize any issues that they do have in lane. Of course, the Seraphine's perfectly fine farming from range, and same goes with this bottom lane duo in the Sivir Yumi.
Sivir Yumi just trying to farm it out, and again, holding steady in that 12 CS each way. Ooh, Liber Hunter missing the boomerang back pass. And mid lane as well, going even. So, like you said, much quieter than it was in game #1. I think at this point, we already had some trades back and forth and, already saw some aggression. And this time around, keep in mind, these junglers will meet at the same time on the same side of the rift.
Yeah, it looks like first big fight is going to be around this top scuttle potentially, as Sivir does get hooked. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it does get hooked. It gets away in fairly good condition, honestly. That could have gone a lot worse, but only loses little less than 50% of her HP.
Yeah, exhaust burned. Make sure they get out of that one, which is nice. And it doesn't look like we're going to see that topside scuffle, because it is just going to be conceded by the Kindred. Is Nocturne actually having level 4 is very interesting, because I feel like the Kindred definitely screwed something up when it comes to juggling the aggro, because she definitely should be able to match the Nocturne here.
It should be able to match, but Jax now getting a taunt, but it gets spell shielded, and so now Jax is on the receiving end, has flash, but is underneath the tower. Almost gets taken out by that last Q, but it still felt a little bit forced, so Jax getting away.
Definitely a little bit forced, and they did miss a little bit when it comes to that chase down, and as a result, I'm able to finish that first blood here. And it will end up just being a bit of a reset, as MG Jax, he does go get that teleport off, and he's perfectly happy with the end result.
Yep. Very, very happy with the current setup. Bottom lane being pressured in. First dragon is going to be that ocean, so that is a nice little change of pace. Top 2 contested early dragons are going to be the Infernal and the ocean, so nice to hopefully see some action around there.
Yeah. And actually, I'm really interested to see what this build path is going to be coming in from the Nocturne, because right now we're seeing a lot of Stridebreaker, and that just provides a lot of stickiness, being able to stick onto targets. But if you look at the setup coming in on the side of Rome, it's very, very vulnerable. They have
Mhm.
triple marksman, so they are incredibly squishy. And perhaps if you go for a more assassin geared build, you just delete one of them immediately, and that's your job done.
Yeah, just take one out, run away, try and kind of rinse and repeat the process. Top lane, Jax having some trouble here, might not be able to collect most of this, but it's still so far, I think, up in the experience count as he goes ahead and CS's all that under the tower. Good taunt
Yeah,
though.
okay.
Took a lot
That's
of
actually
damage.
big.
Liberal got chunked out right there. Both of them at level 6, and first Drake goes the way of Ahotem.
Yeah, and very nice pickup there from the side of Rome being able to capitalize and obtain that dragon. And in this top side, well, now the Shen has level 6. He can start looking for these plays. So I expect to see if they do land a nice hook in this bottom side, that we will see that teleport or ult come in from the Shen to try and make sure they secure that kill.
Kill secured is always the phrase that you want to hear. Nice little dodge out on the Yumi Q. Once again, level 6 is for the mid laners as well. And outside of that first gank from Japeth, we haven't really seen any hard aggression. So I want to see what they can do. Bernie Sanders, though, already hitting level 7. As a wave clear battle between the two mid laners has so far gone in Bernie's favor.
Going into Bernie's favor at the moment. And I mean, it's I think that the play for the side of Rome is just set up around that next dragon, because you'll have the package available for you if it decides to hold off onto it, and then you can just use that in combination with the Shen ultimate to really just put so much backline threat, or at the very least split the fight. So when the Nocturne does go in, you have that Corki ult, and it prevents anyone else from following up, and then you just finish off the Nocturne easy peasy.
Yep. Hopefully getting some of that laid down, but you can see the junglers. Actually, Japeth just hit level 6, up about 2.5 camps, I want to say. So has the ultimate up and available. Big question marks, of course. Where is he going to ult first? All of his lanes pretty much should be fairly even. But the first trade going in favor of Rome Revolution Esports does mean that they are putting a little bit more priority on these global objectives. And you can already
Could be a
see
gank topside.
Rift Herald being pinged out and possibly a rotate around. Yeah, you can see him trying to invade in the enemy jungle and finding a blue bus spawn.
Shen possibly looking to deny the back. Actually, Nar just stops it himself, and okay. This is trouble. There's
Yep.
4 people here.
Yep, and Liberal
Buddy,
Hunter actually jumps in. He decides to go in, gets knocked up from a flash out of Jason Sama, and the hook goes wide. 4 members top. Liberal Hunter becomes the hunted like a fish in a barrel. Good damage goes out, and they pick up first blood for Rome Revolution Esports.
Yeah, and that's honestly just, MG Jax getting that kill seems a bit of a blunder, but now Nocturne, he's in trouble.
Yep, he is in trouble. Use this paranoia, but remember, when you're trying to run away, you can't ult in. Flashes over the wall and gets auto attack for it. And he has lost his flash and his ultimate. Remember, guys, with Nocturne, first ultimate is very important. And if that is your first ultimate of the game, things are looking a bit rough.
That is definitely a bit rough, because the first ult comes through and he's trying to run away with it, and definitely doesn't make any sense in that regard. And now the game just comes down to, well, how big can Seraphine and Sivir get? Because Gnar and Nocturne put a little bit behind. Nocturne looks like he is going for that Stridebreaker build. So not the highest output of damage when it comes to these team fights, and it's going to be really reliant on this Gnar to be able to provide that extra value, which so far, it's not looking great for him.
Nope, and all they can really rely on are the CS differences. Japeth is going to land the Q, gets a little bit of trail from the darkness, but now they're just going to call it straight in, and that's just some Somberful just getting destroyed, and Exhaust goes out. Bernie Sanders is going to pick that one up, and that is a 1-for-1 exchange.
Yeah, but yet another kill goes into the pockets of Corki, and this Corki is just so immense already. And that's going to be problematic because he is one of the champions that really just outranges the rest of CC's comp and is really pivotal in making sure that CC, if they ever do pull the trigger, they're not going to have the health bars to really fully commit to the fight afterwards.
All about what advantages can you get, and like you said, the health advantages, the summoner spell advantages, all of that has to be taken into account. Dragon is now up. That is going to be the paranoia using to jump in as Jax immediately flashes out. He is going to stay alive, but that big ticket ultimate once again used on the top side. Dragon is up, so that is full coverage given over to Rome Revolution Esports.
Yeah, with Nocturne showing up topside, it just makes it for an easy play here onto that Dragon. And I mean, for the side of, okay.
A little bit of a duel again, and in goes the Mega Gnar. He is going to get the ultimate thrown right back. Doesn't get the stun off, though. And now fighting in this minion wave, Liberal Hunter is still not safe. He's going to back on a ward. But that's still a close trade. So Jax drawing a lot of attention. Now the hook going to land on the bottom side into the ultimate from the Blitzcrank. Over the wall goes Saturn, and a flash follow means Ahotem is going to collect that one. Poncho Cat is going to try his best to run away. But again, it's only a little cat on a book. Hook should be coming up for Jason Sama. He is actually going to tank it up with the final chapter going out. Oh, burning the Lamb's Respite for
teleport coming in, though.
Play. And they're going to get the heal on Ahotem, but Sommerful might be traded out. Flash over the wall. Encore is going to tag all three. So big teleport into bigger kill means that CCE might have found a little bit of compensation.
Yeah, they definitely find compensation there, and it's actually perfect as far as where those kills do go on. You get it onto the Seraphine and you get it onto the Yumi. So a little extra healing, a little extra sustain when it comes to these fights. And also that magic damage. You want these champions to be ahead because it does make up for the fact that you don't have a dedicated AP mage in this composition.
You don't really have a hard dedicated mage, and understanding that will bring some key points. Paranoia goes down once again, and they're looking to go all the way in.
Really?
Yes, they just jump it all in. Kamikaze is going to back him up, and over the wall goes Corki. A little bit of attempt as Jax actually, I think, attempted to try and get a teleport or ultimate down, which means Liberal Hunter gets to trade it back, but taking a couple tower shots and dropping into Mega Gnar means that this ranged battle might not be good. A couple more boomerang tags as a little cheeky of Rome to try that invade out.
Yeah, and I mean, even though the kill score does says that the game has slowed down, the fighting still hasn't stopped from game one. It's still those two top laners going at it nonstop, and while the kill score hasn't reflected how much fighting has gone over there, the damage numbers are probably going to show that this Shen is doing a lot more damage than he actually is, or this Gnar is doing a lot more damage than he really is, because they are just really loading up the damage numbers up there.
It reminds me of all the players that always talk about their loss and be like, but I did most damage. I'm like, yeah, you're hitting the Ornn, who is full level 18 with all ornaments and full build. You're gonna do the most damage.
Yeah, you've been hitting him all game. Come on.
Yeah, that's why we lost. You weren't hitting anyone else. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's a terrible call out. And that's to no teammates in particular. So if you think that's about you, I'm very sorry. We are going to see the top lane tower go
Shade
down
tossed
here for the Champlain College Esports. They get first tower, but are now going to get pinched. Kamikaze is going to get jumped on. And that is just a very quick burst. And now the hook goes out. Over the wall goes Liberal, but that's just a very short dash. Flashes over the wall to follow. And that is going to be all the ultimates pretty much burned to run. CCE
Oh my
out
God,
of their own jungle.
Corky.
One more tags it. The missile barrage is real. Bernie Sanders hooks it down on the top side.
Yeah. Yeah. Corky. Rockets doing a lot of damage already. And that's in credit to the fact that he was able to get 2 early kills, and now he has the Sork boots and snags himself 2 more. So he's coming on very close to being able to secure himself that man immune. And once Muramana is completed, that's yet another massive power spike for this squad. And this next dragon is going to be absolutely terrifying for the side of CC just to try and even consider fighting around.
Yeah, this is it's looking a little bit more dire at this point. I think in game number 1 they were actually a little bit more even, right? Yes, it's only 200 gold difference, but the kills, like, you have to look at the kills here, right? 6 to 3, 2 dragons to 0. So that gold is definitely offset. Add maybe 1,000 more in terms of dragon stat bonuses. With Infernal coming up in 20 seconds, this is just going to boost the rest of Rome Revolution Esports that much further ahead.
Yeah, and this game feels like it's about to just all boil down to this dragon fight. And would you look at that for the side of CC, they're just not in position to try and contest. Yes, they're the Gnar is looking for a reset, but look at where this Nocturne is. He's nowhere close, and it looks like they're just going to concede the 3rd dragon over, no questions asked. And that's just okay. Well, it was very close to going down, but
yeah, now we're gonna see a little bit of attempt back. Encore goes a little bit wide, and the towers do land. That's gonna be Japet just taken out. Flash forward into a Q, and a nice little stun by Kamikaze means Ahotem can't follow up.
Yeah, and this has been not a good follow-up game coming in from Japet. They want more.
Yeah, they're actually going to flash in. That's going to be the Lamb's Respite used, and I think that's
locked
just
down forever.
A straight-up free kill given. So they attempted to go a little bit further. Now Jason is going to fall, and that's going to be the Sin United as Jason tries to go back in. Oh, he tries his best to get Jax in that fight, but that is not going to happen as they do pick up 2 on the back end. But again, Rome Revolution Esports come away and are on soul point at 18 minutes.
Yeah, and honestly, definitely a bit of an overstep coming in from the side of Rome. And they get massively punished. So, to be fair, if you're the side of CC, you want that Shen to come through because Jason wasn't going to live for much longer. So you let the Shen come through, alleviates pressure in the side lane, and you most likely burn the flash onto the Shen as follow-up. So, definitely could have gotten more, but that's okay. That is okay. And they're going to claim a Rift Herald instead.
Rift Herald does go in the way of CCE. And I mean, at this point, they need all the help that they can get. It is second Rift Herald, so no plates available, but they might be able to pressure in if they get a couple of key kills. Mid lane goes down. That is going to even up the tower score to 2-2. Make sure Rome has a 1.1k lead for themselves. And I mean, looking at the score, you know, obviously where that lead is currently sitting. 5-0-1 Bernie Sanders, well and above his lane opponent. 1.1k on him specifically. However, we get the jump in. 4 members waiting right in the pit into the Gnar wall. The perfect setup for CCE, and they collect. They came and said, thank you very much. We will take 3 of your members' lives. Now Bernie Sanders is going to be the next. The Immortal Shield Bow is not going to be enough. And the shutdown, unfortunately, goes the way of Poncho Cat, but they will take what they can get. Not just 3, but 4 members fall in a catastrophe of a bush gank.
They tried to bait that one out, but it was all for naught because you just see Liberal Hunter, he just gets a massive Gnar ultimate into that choke point, and you just cannot fight in those areas. And I mean, on the flip side, Shannon looks like he's going to be in trouble now too.
Jack's just going, I don't know what to do. I can't do anything. Kamikaze is just going to take my life.
just runs in circles and has to slowly concede. But now the chase is on for. Oh,
no. Flash burn,
he's
but
still alive?
Somberful is here and says
Just
thank
kidding.
you for the kill on a silver platter. Bernie Sanders teleported in behind.
Oh,
Then the rocket
Lord.
isn't going to land. Shutdown, though, for Somberful as the fully charged satchel charge will take another kill for himself. 1, 3, and 4 for Somberful, and Baron being pinged out on spawn.
Yeah, and it's just a Bernie Sanders show, you know? It's all about him. He's making a run. And the damage is nuts. The positioning has been good. The playmaking has been great. This Corki pick has been paying absolute dividends for his squad. And the rest of the team, they're just there for the show. You know, the Kindred, I mean, Aotem, he's done relatively well in this game, has been able to participate in 9 out of 10, and he's been where he's needed to be on the map. But I feel like that's also in part due to Japeth just making it easy for Aotem. He's constantly just been farming nonstop. He's conceded these objectives, and Aotem, he's accepted all these gifts.
And a huge part of League of Legends, right, is being able to prioritize on key mistakes of your opponent, right? Finding those little cracks in the armor and saying, what can I get out of this? And if you can get a kill plus pressure, that's more than enough. And you need, I think at some points, it's really a game of who can react better, right? Who can get more out of the mistakes that the opponent makes? And this might be another one. Over the wall, a hook is going to be thrown, but Dragon is the all-important battle. All ultimates are available. A little bit of paranoia goes down. They're going to try and follow through, and everyone's thrown out of the Lamb's Respite, but can they pick up any kills? No, they're going to survive, and Somberful is going to delete Liberal Hunter off the map. That's going to follow with 2 more, and down goes the Shen. But that's such a minor thing. Flash out from Kamikaze. And
that's
a 5-second battle results in a bloody 3 for 2. Make that a potential a little bit more. Ahotem actually follows up and can't get the extra Q. A trade of 1 for 1 there in the ensuing
Can he steal? Can he steal now?
I don't think he's going to be able to.
Oh,
Bernie
no.
Sanders is just too dang strong. That's going to be Infernal Soul given over in a 4 for 3 chaotic battle.
You know, I feel like Bernie Sanders, he was just like, guys, I am once again asking for you to not run it down. And Kindred just trades 1 for 1. Feels a little bit irresponsibly there. But you know what? Got the Kindred stack.
There is a point where you're just like, I think he took off his headset and just like went full man mode, just ran straight in. And again, yes, got the shutdown. I think that might have also been the stack. I don't know if I got the right triggering on it, but so far Aotem has made a great deal of progress. 7 stacks.
7 stacks,
Kindred. So very, very strong right now. I think 1 more and a little bit more damage will be right on that range. So overall, just very, very well played thus far. Japeth, though, dropping the paranoia, trying to jump on to Jason and fears him right into the enemy team. So big ticket ultimate encore goes out into the follow through damage. Final chapter means this battle has officially kicked off, and the rocket jump out. Somberful dances out of the Gnar, smash against the wall. Double kill coming out for Aotem as they are chasing down these kills. A flash in means a triple kill, and Aotem wants the quadra. He is going to try and chase, but Kamikaze and Poncho
are going to
try their best not to. A dodge away from the taunt, and they're just going to keep running. And Bernie Sanders is actually very low. Remember, this is a double heal. This is double heal off of him, and auto tag goes out, and Kamikaze trying his best to chase away. That's going to be it. The pentakill comes to... No, they came up in time. No. That's so
the unofficial Penta. Don't worry, we watched it, we saw it. Don't worry, brother. It's all good. But yeah, that's it was all that last investment when he flashed forward to try and kill the Seraphine. It was all for setup for this moment where he would get the follow-up Penta because he got that extra stack. It was all worth it.
Everything was worth, and now with a pseudo pentakill in the books, Infernal Soul in their pocket, and a 3.5k lead, it feels like Rome Revolution Esports have nothing standing in their path right now between victory.
Yeah, this game is pretty much they came, they saw, they conquered. Because I mean, this marksman composition, how do you even get onto it? Like, two of your members just do not play well into the comp. You have this Gnar who needs to really play around these walls, and if he's able to get that, we saw if he's able to get that dream ult, the possibilities there. But with how far behind this Nocturne is, the damage isn't there, and that's the real issue.
Oh, the Blitzcrank is having so much fun here. Lamb's Respite is also thrown down just to stave off any paranoia damage, and that's just a simple kill and a possible flank coming out of Jax. On the backside, that one missile deleted Saturn and Liberal Hunter's health bars. A little bit of a stride breaker in. They might throw him back in. Yeah, he's going to get thrown right back into the enemy team, but the auto attacks are so much stronger. Look at this Shen just going, all right, get on my back. Let's follow through. Somberful jumps right into enemy hands, throws up the masteries just to show a little bit of flair. And that is going to be the 3-man death opening the base for Rome to enter.
Yeah, and with triple marksman, they could definitely just take one of these Nexus towers, or they could just try and force the end here. They have so much poke, they have so much range. It definitely is possible. And for the side of CC, they have to be incredibly careful that they don't concede a kill, because a kill pretty much does signal the end, or the last push here. Is they're going to try and chase for kills.
I mean, they're going to try one more time, and Bernie Sanders just cuts him down. Oh, the combination is too dang good. He gets a double kill. Is he going to get triple? Yes, he is. Gnar comes in. Is he actually going to pick up a quad?
Nope.
The Shen ultimate is going to change it up. Somberful is going to try and chase down.
Tristana's coming.
The little hump is there. Use the blast cone one. Might get the second. Is going to get it, but the bomb is enough. Liberal Hunter tries to throw down a little cheeky active, but can't make it happen. A triple kill in a 2v3 situation. Bernie Sanders is now legendary, 700 gold bounty on his head, and that will be it. Rome Revolution Esports continue their domination in peak fashion. They will take the 2-0 series, but not before Saturn gets poked straight into his own Fountain Encore, goes straight through multiple members, and actually they might not be able to end. They're actually going to try. Bernie Sanders gets exhausted, and man, I called it a little bit too soon. They overstayed and now pay with their lives. Jax ready to trade it right back. 3 for 2, make that 4 for 2 as Somberful can't finish out the mid lane. Next, mid lane inhibitor has to flash away from the slowing ability of the Yumi.
They could.
They're going to try and follow through. He is actually going to try and turn it. A couple auto attacks might be enough. Yes, picks up the pop star, and the encore is just that, an encore. No second showing as Saturn will go ahead and take revenge.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, this Sivir, like, holy moly. I think she got like 3 shutdown kills, because if you open up her money situation, she's sitting on a lot of it. She's got a full item, 3,300 gold sitting in her back pocket, and this is a little ambitious. This is ambitious.
And that's going to be the spell shield used. Hook denied, but the paranoia. Actually, they didn't see it, so Jax comes in. Multiple TPs moving their way in, and I think this is just Elder Dragon going in their favor.
They have to go for a seal, but Nocturne, I mean, he's a level down, and he's just not even close.
Yeah, that's going to be Elder taken, and Bernie Sanders goes ahead, snipes one away on the Seraphine. 11, 2, and 13. This Corki pick is majestic. Now they all have to run away. Bernie Sanders ready to go, flashes forward, auto attack in, might do another Valkyrie, and Lamb's Respite out of nowhere. Just a little bit of a circle dance right there.
Yeah, it's just the party ults at the very end. They know that this game should be done, but if they continue to just take Sivir damage, it might change things.
My gosh.
Just kidding.
Oh, that's one more. There it is. Shut down for the Kindred. Oh, you gotta love it. Pacho eats one missile and loses 50% of his HP. He's dancing. He wants to try and fight it out. They're having a freaking blast. There it is. Game over. Series over. Rome Revolution Esports take it 2-0.
And I mean, that early game was all about Bernie Sanders on this Corki. And eventually See, the rest of his team, they were eventually able to order those same Bernie Sanders mittens, and that's where all the power comes from, you know? So once they got their orders come in and they were able to, put them on, that's when the heavy hitting came through. You saw the Kindred was able to find an unofficial penta, also find so much more kills after that. And at the very end as well, Somberful, because of that quirky damage and all that poke coming through, he was able to finally find some of these kills on the back end. So overall, nice game number 2. It was messy towards the end, but that's kind of how teams in the UJL flex their muscles. Is just you just try and pad your stats as much as possible, knowing you have such a massive lead.
Yeah, and I mean, it speaks to their strengths as a team, right? Uh, how many people can say Bernie Sanders carried me in League of Legends or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And this was by no means just a carry on him. 10, 5, and 13. AOTEM really ran the show. Somberful did very, very nice. 6, 6, and 10. All of these guys put up incredible numbers, and no slight on the side of CCE, right? Champlain College Esports, you go up against a very tough team and you come out with some fantastic numbers. Sajern looking like a huge diamond in the rough for this squad over 2 games. Massive KDA for him.
Yeah, massive KDA, but also just massive damage numbers. And just bringing attention to those damage numbers. I don't know if we can pull it up onto the stream, but I mean, Bernie Sanders, like 36k damage. Yes, you mentioned AOTEM. He had the KDA to kind of match Bernie Sanders, but his damage, 20,000 damage behind. So he was less than half of Bernie Sanders. This is damage.
Yeah, just ridiculous numbers all around, and they will close out week number 2 in contention to first place right now. So very, very well done by them. If you had to pick someone for MVP, I think I know who you're going to give it to, of course, but who would it go to just for a little bit of fun?
Well, you mean, I mean, to be fair, like, yes, Bernie Sanders stood out a lot in game number 2, but in game number 1, and it was all about AOTEM, right? He was the consistent member. He was able to get the ball rolling for his squad. And in game number 2, he didn't necessarily slack too far behind. Yes, a lot of the heavy lifting came from Bernie Sanders, but AOTEM, he was able to make the moves to get all those objectives. He was really the big member to make sure that they got themselves those 4 elemental dragons. So, it's a little bit surprising after that game 2 performance, but it has to be AOTEM.
All right, well, there you go. AOTEM coming out with our MVP award. But again, everyone in this game played amazingly, and it was a blast to watch. So again, congratulations to Rome Revolution Esports as they take the Series 2-0 victory. With that, we will go ahead and close out this UJL broadcast. My name, once again, was Orbital, and with me was Nightstar with Finnick on production. So thank you so much for tuning in to this broadcast, and have a fantastic evening.